2014 has been such an incredible year for me. I've been on a constant improvement since the beginning of it. I met so many great, influential, wonderful, and encouraging friends over that time. I've built on relationships, both business-wise and in love. I've traveled more than I thought I was going to, and all of these different targets that I set myself, I seem to have reached without even really knowing how. You might remember that in the middle of the year, I put forward the idea of things that I would like to do, which would have potentially gone for a competition. Then I decided not to enter that competition and try and do things my own way. And I ended up reaching all of the goals that I'd wanted to do, including being on a tour bus, standing on stage in front of a whole insane crowd of people that were going nuts, and many other things along the way. I got to work with fantastic people, and it's just been such a great start. So at some point during this year, it became apparent that this channel was going to be less about its own personal growth and more just a place that I would come back myself to visit and see the things that I'd been getting up to casually and calmly with different people that I was friends with. The music montage became more apparent and more strong, and everything else was kind of faded. I didn't want to be a person that was doing tag videos as lovely as those are, or relatable posts, or just little mundane in-betweens. So I wanted to either have moments where my friends and I were having great times and I could just go back and look at that. This has been good, it's been an enjoyable year. Or moments that I thought particularly stood out. And whilst I've done these little updates here and there, none of them have really been anything more than just experimenting with whether or not I actually like that process and whether it's something that's going to help me. And it's been a year of making decisions like that. I've been working more and more with people in areas that I wasn't originally intending to go in. Back in January, I made friends with a girl called Lily Melrose, who I've ended up doing all of the photos for this year. And that's led me more into the fashion side of things and working with people that do outfits and talk about makeup and other aspects of life that weren't really something that factored into mine, but is now quite an important direction for it. And I'm hopefully going to be working with a lot more people in that field in the next year. I met a guy called Phil who told me that the rates that I was charging and the things that I was doing weren't really good enough. And that was a very important thing to hear. I wasn't charging enough and I was doing too much for too little. And it made more sense, and I started charging appropriately, and ended up getting more work because people respected the prices more and they respected the effort I was putting into it, and they saw the end product anyway. They were always going to see the end product, but now I was actually being rewarded for the work that I was putting in. That became very, very important, and I got to see how he interacted in the ways that he did various different things, whether it was doing shoots and the direction that he would give people and things like that. I got to spend a lot of time with my friend Ray, who went through many different shoots, brought me along in the background as either doing photography or whether I was going to be doing like behind the scenes. And I got to study how he directed people as well, his interactions and the good and the bad that he does, so I could work out what things I wanted to be able to do myself and what I wanted to ignore. I also got to involve him in some aspects that I've got more experience than he has, so that he could grow in that. We did a music video with a few people, various different ones over the time. We got to see some of the flaws and the constraints of doing them on the fly outside, as well as the great thing about doing the controlled climate of an indoor shoot, especially if the audio is already done. I got to go on tour with Lindsay Sterling, which was a lesson in always being prepared, because I didn't have my passport ready, and therefore had a week of stress leading into it. I got to travel to all kinds of different countries and say yes to as many things as I could, which meant that going on things that terrified me, like a Segway, going down a massive steep hill with a camera in one hand, trying to learn how to control it, and learning how to be around a whole host of new people that I hadn't met, learning the importance of respecting the various different members of the crew and getting to see how intense the working environment actually is and how much hard work and effort and how constant Lindsay is when she's doing her own work, which in itself influenced me in ways that I wanted to improve my own workflow. She would never stop working when she was done with a project. Even when that project was almost done, she'd be planning and prepping for the next thing so that she would constantly be active. And then when she does have her time off to actually relax and unwind, she's at least aware that she's got the next thing coming up when she's done with that, which was an area that I needed to work on more and more. And it meant that I built on my own communication with other people that I was going to be working with, and it helped to feed my desire to be hungrier for the work, to be searching and to be out there just trying to get it. I got to spend more time with people like Mandy and Bing again. We started off the year by going down to my parents' bungalow in Kent so that we could get some time away from everything. As a collective of friends, get to know each other a bit more when you're all sleeping in the same place and you're all in like an intense closeness. It really tests whether or not you guys are a strong or a weak, fragile unit. And there were about 9 of us, all in a very close space. Aside from a few slight incidents, everyone came out of it better for it. We were more relaxed. We got to spend some time just unwinding at the beach. We got to look at beautiful situations and really grow together. We got to eat good food, laugh a lot, drink a bunch, and plan ideas. We shot some sketches. We made some other things like that. And that was the first full sketch that I'd shot from start to finish for someone, which was a brand new experience. That was for the Fredocrats on their channel. I got to do so many new things this year. For my birthday, a whole host of different people who celebrate in May as well, including Bing and Neefsy and many other wonderful human beings that I love and adore, come together and have a big group birthday. On the same day of that party, Arsenal won the FA Cup, which was fantastic for me because as a fan, it's been far too long since we've done anything in the final for something. I was on cloud 9 for the whole time. I was just buzzing, I was full of energy, I was bouncing around, I was probably really obnoxious, but I was ecstatic. That was incredible. I got to see Robert Gillies in Rezel. It had been a year, it had been too long, and we got to shoot a campaign for him which was successful, which raised money for him to go and make his next album's PR side of things. The album is incredible, and it's now out. It's really, really good. I got to see Sarah Grace.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh.
We did 2 videos for Rebecca Need Manir, one with Hayden, one with Ray. We did a video for Sarah Grace. We did a whole bunch of different things along the way. I helped out Matt Amos with some footage for his. I got to go with Zoe to Shepherd's Bush Empire and be one of the first people to see the new dressing rooms that they just brought in this year. Got to stand on the stage and look out over that iconic area and take some photos of her and spend a bit of time exploring the area. I got to go on stage in Monmouth on a massive crowd of people. I got to stand on stage many a time during Lindsay's tour and have chanting crazy crowds going absolutely nuts. I got to shoot very, very beautiful things. There were so many great parties throughout the year, whether they were ones at the Creator Space, ones that we had at the Arena, or various other places along the way. I got to go to Disneyland to celebrate Halloween, dressed as a bee with a whole host of brand new friends. I did so many fantastic, absolutely nuts things this year, and it's so hard to even condense them down into a few minutes. And then the most important was that in July, during festival season, during all of the beautiful things of that, I got to meet my girlfriend, fall in love with an open heart, have no hang-ups, enter it in a really healthy way, and I get to film this whilst I'm at hers. It's been so bizarre. I've grown so much and I've learned an incredible amount, and you guys have been along there for a lot of that. And I really, really am grateful for that, because the positive comments and the friendly interaction and just the nice things that people have said to me over the years that have kept me going, both in making videos and taking photos and being the person that I am, has just been immense. And this is a year that's been tainted by so many negative things as well, from the community being so damaging to one another. But I'd rather reflect on the good things that you guys have done for me in my life, and hopefully 2015 is going to be as good, if not better. Thank you very much. Much love. Peace.
I love you, baby. I can't